Hi guys, Dom here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's little workout recap. As you can see by the title, we're going to do a workout. It's quite slow and steady, but it's more focusing on certain positions and what we call positional strength. So for me, around primarily through my shoulders, my rear sub-trap, and also for my trunk. So I'm going to get myself into some positions where I'm going to have to engage and hold the movement for say a 2-second period, which therefore means that the reps that we're not doing significantly high reps. We're also not going to do low reps. We're just going to find a number that works for the round. Now, in the first couple of rounds, you may get 8, 10, 12 reps before you start to feel that holding that position is becoming a bit of a struggle. And if that's the case, I want you to do that. We're not going to go to failure. We're going to simply get those amount of reps and focus. As through the workout, you're probably going to descend the amount of reps each round, and that is fine because it's more about you being strong in the movement, in the hold, rather than doing it and then losing all form and not really, I suppose, getting the output of what we want, which is the whole positional strength. So the best thing to do is just simply show you what the movements are. Again, I'll list them in the write-up once this goes live, and there's no set reps. Let me make that clear. That's up to you. You decide that for yourself. So the first one we're going to use the TRX or the suspension trainer, and we're going to come into a push-up position with our feet elevated, and then we're going to go into like a pike push-up. People might also call these a jackknife. So what you basically do, I've got them set down so that they're about 1.5 feet off the ground. I'm simply going to bring the mat back. I'm simply going to put my feet in. So once the feet are in the stirrups, I'm simply going to come out so that when I come into my full push-up position, in this case, I like to have my hands out east-west because that's what works for me for the movement. I'm going to go into a plank and then I'm going to push up into a pike position and hold for a second or two. And that's the first movement. Again, is that people might call it a jackknife, or I call it like a pike push-up with my feet starting in elevated position. Movement number 2, we're going to go to a standing position. We're going to need one dumbbell and we're going to need the bench. We're going to do a form of a Bulgarian split squat. But to challenge that, we're going to have one dumbbell in the overhead position. So it's a cross between a split squat and an overhead lunge. Whatever leg is out the front, that is the hand that has the dumbbell. You need to come out quite a fair distance for this because I'm looking to stay upright, and if you need to use something supporting to get your feet back into position. So dumbbell is pressed into overhead, simply going to step back. I'm going to find my position, kick the heel forward, brace. Nothing worse than. So again, overhead position, Bulgarian split squat. We're going to go, in this case, I went for 6 on the right, 6 on the left. Next movement, coming down to the floor. We're going to grab one of those dumbbells and we're going to do what we call a trophy sit-up. Dumbbell will always stay in an overhead or above the floor position. Simply back. From here, I'm going to simply press, hold, 1, 2, and back down. Bring it up, press and hold, and then back down. That is the trophy setup. 2 more movements to go. Next one is we're going to use the plate. We're going to go into a front raise, and we're going to try and hold the plate in that top raise for about a 1 to 2 second and come back. So we're not swinging through the hips. We're not using any hip hinge and power. This is just simply the raise. Now, what you're going to find with this, my arms are not straight. They are slightly bent. simply because I'm trying to do this one with a 20 kilo plate. So from here, come into the movement, hold nice and tight, sit down into the knees a little tiny bit, hold, squeeze, shoulders back, and one. Again, and two, and so on, and you're going to find yourself a set of reps to get that done. Final movement, again, we're going to come into a bent over row, almost quite a flat, like a pendlay row, whereas the pendlay we're going explosive. We're not going explosive, we're going to go in a cross between like a rear delt fly and a bent over row, but we're going to have our hands in that supine position. Okay, whole idea is as I pull back, I'm going to squeeze and hold through my lats and then come back down. So one hand, a dumbbell in each hand, sorry. From here, I'm going to come down, I'm going to brace, hands are out, 3, 2, 1. And so on. Okay. They are the movements. So let's just recap. The suspension trainer, TRX, whatever brand you've got, into Jackknife or Pike push-ups. Coming into the standing, one dumbbell overhead, combination between the overhead lunge and the Bulgarian. The number you do each side is the same. One to the floor, one dumbbell. You can also use the plate. Do your trophy sit-ups with the hold at the top. Onto the standing, the plate raise. And again, then the last one is that bent over row / rear delt fly, but we're using the supine or the underhand position. Now, if you're doing this at home and you don't have this gear, then what you can do is this. You can, for example, take your sandbag, you could take the bench, you could take a step, you could take a milk crate, and what you can do is you could practice getting into the pike position by simply feet on there, and then what you could do is you could walk your hands back like a wall walk into a pike position, and then you would walk them out. It is a different type of movement. It's going to require you to use a lot more through your shoulder girdle. So that is your option 2. Third option with that there is if you've got a plyometric box, sits about yay high, 20 inches or so, you can come onto that, and then you can practice going into that pike position and then walking out. Pike position and then walking out. So that gives you your option for that there. As far as the Bulgarian split squat, same thing, find a step, find a milk crate, and if it's the case, instead of using the dumbbell, let's say you've only got your sandbag or your ruck, I would encourage you to have it in the front rack position, and that will simply force you to push this back. If you don't have a step, then again, just treat it as a reverse lunge, front rack position, step back into a hold, don't go to the bottom, and then if you want to, then you can then try press, positional hold here, and then step up. Okay, you will still find that this back leg, like in the Bulgarian, gets a big stretch through the quad, and then the overhead press means I'm going to have to press through from here, and the fact that we're using 2 hands should be a little bit easier if you've got the standard 10 to 20 kilos in your sandbag or your ruck. You can also do the same thing with your trophy sit-up. Take out one of the small bags, place it down, or try and just use the ruck and try and sit up with it, maybe even in this type of position. Likewise too with the sandbag or ruck, you can probably do that with the plate raise. Again, it is a bit more awkward. You are in a hammer style position also too, like I was. But again, if it's too heavy for you, then again, we're not talking you to raise it all up to here. As you can see, I got mine up about 3/4 of the way, like thumbs up, and then back down. It's just about more holding, pulling through the shoulder blade, and then back down. And then that final thing with the bent over row, you could take your ruck or your sandbag, and instead of doing a double arm, you could do a single arm. Just simply come into that position, come into your split lunge. If you have to, put one hand here and brace, take your ruck or your sandbag, and then just do it as a row. If it's a sandbag, you might be able to row, and you might be able to turn and have the sandbag slide through the gap here in your legs, and hold, and then back down, hold, and back down. That way you get the rotation through the rear. Yeah, that's the workout today. So positional strength, not something we're going fast. As far as reps, to give you an idea, my first round I simply chose a number like 12 to get 12 done. The second I went down to 10. The third I went down to 8, and I managed in the 30 minutes to get my fourth round. Again, not going fast, just getting the reps up, 10, 20 seconds, sip of water, go on to the next movement and go in 30 minutes. The workout is done, and I went from my 12, my 10s, my 8s and my 6. Not huge volume, but enough that I definitely feel the workout, and I've got a bit of a sweat going on. That's it, my name is Dom. This is the MCSTRAWMethod. Please like, please subscribe, please tell a friend. See you on tomorrow's workout recap.